across lifetimes, through dreams and quiet moments, you've felt it, the hidden power waiting to be remembered. This audiobook is your key to the sacred technique, an ancient truth that has been with you all along. You're not discovering it. You're finally waking up to it. The Sacred Technique. Introduction. Through the mists of time, a sacred truth has endured, whispered by sages, preserved in ancient texts, and etched into the very fabric of existence. This truth, known as the sacred technique, lies dormant within you, waiting to be awakened from its slumber. What you hold in your hands is more than mere words on paper. It is a key to unlocking the eternal wisdom that has guided masters and mystics throughout the ages. This manuscript serves as a bridge between what you believe to be true and what has always been true, that you are not merely an observer of reality, but its creator. The sacred technique is not a new discovery, but rather an ancient remembering. It flows through the bloodlines of every civilization, every wisdom tradition, and every soul who has touched the infinite. You have carried this knowledge within you across lifetimes, through countless cycles of forgetting and remembering. As you turn these chapters, you step onto a path walked by those who understood the true nature of existence. They knew that the world we perceive is not fixed or solid, but fluid and responsive to the power of consciousness itself. This understanding is your birthright, waiting to be reclaimed. The journey ahead will transform your relationship with reality itself. Through sacred teachings and timeless wisdom, you will remember what your soul has never forgotten, that you are one with the creative force of the universe. The power you seek does not lie in some distant realm or future moment. It pulses within you now, as it always has. Your presence here is no accident. The stirring you feel, that quiet knowing that there must be more to life, is the first light of awakening. It is your soul's recognition of a truth it has always known. This manuscript will guide you back to that knowing, back to the power that is your natural state of being. Let these words serve as your invitation to remember who you truly are. Part 1. The Awakening. Remembering the Hidden Power. Chapter 1. The Whisper You've Always Heard. In the depths of an ancient forest, where shadows danced with shafts of golden light, walked an elderly man named Walter. His weathered hands trembled not with age, but with anticipation. For 40 years he had walked past these very trees. But today was different. Today he heard it, a whisper that seemed to rise from the earth itself, calling him deeper into the emerald shadows. You too have felt this call. In moments of stillness, when the world's clamor fades, you've sensed something stirring within, an ancient knowing that defies explanation. This is no mere feeling. It is the sacred technique beginning to awaken within you. The truth you seek is not new knowledge to be learned, but ancient wisdom waiting to be remembered. Like a language once known but forgotten, it lives in the depths of your being. Every moment of inspiration, every inexplicable knowing, every dream that feels more real than reality, these are echoes of what you have always known. Think of how a flower knows when to bloom, how birds know where to migrate, how your heart knows to beat without instruction. This same innate wisdom flows through you. The sacred technique is not a skill to master, but a remembering of what your soul has never forgotten. In a distant city lived a seamstress named Grace. Her fingers were skilled with needle and thread, but her heart yearned for canvas and paint. Each night, as she stitched other people's dreams into reality, she felt a gentle tugging at her spirit. One evening, as moonlight spilled through her window, the whisper grew stronger. Setting aside her needlework, she followed this silent call to her dusty attic. There, beneath years of forgotten things, lay her grandmother's paintbrushes. As her fingers touched their worn handles, something ancient awakened within her. Just as Grace heard the whisper of her true calling, you too are being guided. The voice you hear in moments of quiet reflection is not imagination. It is your higher self, your eternal nature, calling you home to your true power. Practice the whisper within. Find a space where you will not be disturbed, a sanctuary where the noise of the world cannot reach you. Settle into a comfortable position, letting your body relax into perfect stillness, and gently close your eyes. For 10 sacred minutes, release all effort to think, analyze, or understand. Simply listen to the vast silence within, that eternal void where all wisdom dwells. Let your breath become gentle and natural, flowing like a quiet stream. Notice what rises from the depths of your being: impressions, feelings, knowing, the whispers of your higher self. Some messages may come as faint images, others as subtle sensations or crystal-clear thoughts. After emerging from this silence, write down everything you experienced, no matter how subtle or seemingly insignificant. Trust that each impression holds meaning. What you hear in this silence is the first key to unlocking the sacred technique, the beginning of your journey into the mysteries that have guided seekers throughout the ages. Chapter 2: The Pulse Behind Reality. In a quiet corner of a small town lived a young woman named Evelyn, whose life was about to reveal one of the universe's most sacred mysteries. Each morning, she noticed how her inner state seemed to paint the world around her. On days when her heart felt light, strangers would smile, opportunities would unfold, and even the sunlight seemed to dance differently through her window. When worry clouded her mind, the world appeared to mirror her discord. Traffic lights turned red, appointments canceled, and shadows seemed to lengthen. You see, what Evelyn discovered was not coincidence, but the fundamental nature of existence itself. The universe is not a static backdrop to your life. It is a living, breathing field of energy that responds to your every vibration. Your thoughts and feelings are not merely internal experiences. They are frequencies that ripple through the fabric of reality. The sacred technique works because you and the universe are not separate entities. You are an instrument in the cosmic orchestra, and your emotional state is your unique song. When you align your inner frequency with the pulse of universal abundance, life begins to flow with remarkable synchronicity. Consider George, who returned from war carrying the weight of his experiences. His world felt harsh and unyielding until he discovered the power of inner peace. As he learned to quiet the storms within, something extraordinary happened. The neighborhood that once felt hostile began to welcome him. Strangers offered unexpected kindness. The very texture of his reality transformed as his inner landscape shifted. This is the living proof of the sacred technique. Your internal state shapes the spiritual blueprint from which physical reality emerges. Every emotion you carry is a signal to the universe, a request for experiences that match your frequency. The practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed and gently close your eyes. Place your hand over your heart, allowing yourself to feel its steady, ancient rhythm. This sacred pulse is your direct connection to the universal dance that has moved through all beings since time began. As you breathe deeply, imagine your heartbeat synchronizing with the vast cosmic rhythm that flows through all things, through mountains and seas, through stars and sleeping children. Feel the harmony growing stronger and clearer with each breath, as though you are tuning an instrument to match the universe's perfect frequency. What does this profound alignment feel like in your body, in your spirit? Notice the subtle shifts in energy, the whispers of wisdom that emerge. Write down all the sensations, images, and insights that arise from this state of divine communion, for they are messages from the infinite speaking directly to your soul. Chapter 3. The Sacred Technique Revealed. Within the hallowed halls of a library in the 1930s, a woman named Clara discovered an ancient manuscript, its chapters worn with wisdom. As she opened its leather-bound cover, the words seemed to rise from the yellowed chapters and speak directly to her soul. The manuscript revealed a truth that had existed since time immemorial, a sacred alignment of three forces that shape reality itself. You, too, hold this power within you. The sacred technique is not a complicated ritual or an esoteric practice shrouded in mystery. It is the natural state of your being, expressed through three intertwining forces: intention, emotion, and presence. Like three golden threads weaving the fabric of reality, these forces work in perfect harmony when properly aligned. Your intention is the clear vision you hold in your mind, pure, unwavering, and complete. Your emotion is the feeling state that breathes life into that vision, making it vibrant and real in the spiritual realm before it manifests in the physical. Your presence is the focused awareness that anchors these energies in the eternal now, where all creation occurs. In a small workshop filled with the gentle ticking of timepieces, Franklin, a retired clockmaker, unknowingly demonstrated this ancient truth. As he repaired each watch, he entered a state of pure alignment. His intention was clear: to restore perfect motion. His emotion was one of quiet joy and certainty. His presence was complete, lost in the flow of the moment. In this state of natural harmony, not only did the watches come alive under his touch, but his entire life began to shift. Opportunities appeared, relationships healed, and abundance flowed, all because he had accidentally aligned the three strands of the sacred technique. This power flows through you in every moment. When you align your clear intention with genuine emotion and remain present in that state, you tap into the very current of creation itself. This is not something to strive for or achieve. It is your natural state of being, waiting to be remembered. Practice. Select one heartfelt desire, something that resonates deeply within your soul, and find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Hold this desire clearly in your mind, allowing it to be simple and pure, free from doubt or complexity. Feel the emotion of its completion as though it has already manifested. Embrace the joy, gratitude, and profound peace of its fulfillment. Let these feelings wash over you naturally without forcing them. Remain present with this combined state of clear intention and fulfilled feeling for 3 minutes, allowing yourself to sink deeper into this sacred alignment. Should your mind wander, gently guide it back to this unified state of being. Afterward, write down your experience in detail, noting any insights, sensations, or subtle shifts that arose during this alignment of the 3 strands. Pay special attention to any unexpected revelations or moments when you feel particularly connected to the universal flow. Chapter 4. The Divine Mirror Principle. In the heart of a bustling maternity ward, Martha attended to the sacred work of bringing new life into the world. Through years of service, she began to notice a pattern as consistent as the cycles of the moon. Her inner state shaped the experience of every birth she attended. You too create such patterns in your daily existence, though they may go unnoticed. The universe operates as a grand mirror, reflecting back to you the essence of your being. It does not create your reality. You do. Through your emotional vibration and deep-seated expectations, you paint the canvas of your experience. When Martha approached her duties with hurried thoughts and anxious energy, complications would arise. Charts would go missing, equipment would malfunction, and tensions would escalate. Yet when she centered herself in calm assurance, births flowed with remarkable ease. The difference lay not in external circumstances, but in the frequency she emanated. This mirror principle extends into every corner of your existence. Each encounter, each circumstance, each seemingly random event carries the signature of your dominant vibration. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, does not judge or create. It simply reflects. Harold, who ran the corner market for 30 years, discovered this truth through his daily interactions with customers. For years, he wondered why some treated him with dismissal while others showed respect. The answer emerged when he realized that his own sense of self-worth was fluctuating throughout the day. On mornings when he stood tall, feeling worthy and confident, customers naturally responded with courtesy and warmth. During moments of self-doubt, when he felt small and insignificant, the mirror principle revealed itself through curt responses and impatient exchanges. You are not experiencing life as it happens to you. You are witnessing your own reflection in the mirror of existence. Every person you meet, every situation you encounter, serves as a mirror showing you your predominant thoughts and feelings about yourself and your world. Sacred practice. Find a quiet moment before your mirror. Look into your own eyes and speak these words aloud. I love and accept myself completely. Notice the feelings that arise: resistance, acceptance, doubt, or peace. Write down what you observe in this reflection. The mirror never lies. It simply shows you where you stand in relation to your own truth. Throughout your day, pause periodically before any reflective surface, a window, a still pool of water, or a mirror, and silently repeat these words of self-acceptance. Each time you practice, observe how your inner response shifts and evolves. Some moments may bring tears, others a gentle smile. Each reaction is a sacred message from your deeper self, revealing where healing is needed and where transformation has already begun. Remember that this practice grows in power with repetition. The mirror becomes your trusted confidant, reflecting not just your physical form, but the ever-changing landscape of your inner world. Through consistent practice, you will witness your relationship with yourself transform, as the reflection gazing back at you becomes increasingly radiant with self-love and divine acceptance. Chapter 5. The Law You Cannot Break, but Can Harness. In the quiet hours before dawn, Dorothy would sit at her desk, penning words that held the power to reshape reality. Not mere wishes scrawled on paper, but declarations written with the certainty of truth. Each morning she watched as the universe responded, not to her hopes, but to her unwavering knowing. The law of attraction operates with mathematical precision. Like the law of gravity, it does not negotiate, debate, or choose favorites. It simply responds to the energy you emit into the cosmic field. Your desires, no matter how noble or deeply felt, hold no sway over this universal principle. The law responds only to your dominant vibration, the frequency you maintain in your heart and mind. When Dorothy first began her practice, her affirmations remained mere words. But as she learned to infuse them with the feeling of already having received her desires, reality began to shift. Students who once struggled began to flourish, resources appeared when needed, and opportunities arose as naturally as the morning sun. The law cannot be broken. It can only be misunderstood. Many believe they can trick the universe through positive thinking alone, yet find themselves disappointed when results fail to manifest. The key lies not in the wanting, but in the being. Charles, a farmer in the drought-stricken plains, learned this truth through necessity. For weeks he prayed for rain, visualized rain, and spoke of rain. Yet the skies remained clear. Then one evening, as he walked his parched fields, wisdom dawned. Instead of yearning for rain, he began to feel the moisture in the soil beneath his feet. He breathed in the scent of wet earth as if it were already there. He gave thanks for the rain as though the clouds had already opened. Within days the rains came. Not because Charles had found the right words or performed the correct ritual, but because he had aligned himself with the frequency of what he sought. The universe, true to its nature, simply matched his vibration. Practice. Choose your heart's deepest desire, that sacred longing that whispers to your soul in quiet moments. Write it in the present tense, as if it has already manifested into physical form. Begin with powerful declarations. I am. I have. I experience. Speak these words aloud each day with unwavering conviction, not as a desperate plea to the universe, but as a calm and knowing declaration of what already exists in the eternal now. Let your entire being, mind, body, and spirit, resonate with the truth of these words. Feel the reality of your desire as a present fact, not a future possibility. Allow this feeling to permeate every cell of your being until you can no longer distinguish between the vision and the manifestation. The universe knows no difference between what you vividly imagine and what you physically experience. It responds only to the frequency you maintain, the vibration you embody in each precious moment. Chapter 6. You are already using it unconsciously. In the bustling halls of St. Mary's Hospital, Ruth moved through her shifts carrying an invisible weight. Today will be difficult, she would think each morning, and without fail, the universe orchestrated exactly what she expected. Difficult patients, missing supplies, and complicated procedures seemed to materialize from thin air, yet they were materializing from something far more potent: her expectation. You must understand this fundamental truth. The sacred technique never rests. It operates through you in every moment, translating your dominant thoughts and feelings into physical reality. There is no pause button, no way to temporarily suspend this cosmic law. You are either wielding it unconsciously, allowing old patterns to create more of what you don't want, or consciously directing it toward what you do want. Ruth discovered this truth during a particularly challenging week. As she examined her recurring thoughts, she realized she had been unconsciously affirming chaos. With this awareness came a choice: continue the pattern or change the inner dialogue. She began affirming, "Everything flows with divine order." At first, nothing seemed different, but gradually, as her vibration shifted, so did her reality. Supplies appeared when needed. Colleagues offered help unprompted, and even the most challenging patients became more cooperative. Edward, a skilled tailor, found himself trapped in a similar pattern. His shop was filled with beautiful garments, yet his ledger told a story of lack. "I can't afford. I'll never have enough. Money is so hard to come by." These thoughts formed the thread of his daily consciousness. The universe, being the perfect mirror it is, reflected back precisely this experience of scarcity. The sacred technique was working flawlessly in Edward's life, creating exactly what he focused upon with such emotional intensity. Only when he understood that his constant worry about money was actually a form of negative creation did things begin to shift. He began to catch himself in moments of lack thinking and consciously redirected his attention to the abundance already present in his life. You see, you cannot stop creating. It is woven into the fabric of your being. But you can choose what you create. Every thought you hold, every emotion you nurture, becomes a seed planted in the fertile soil of universal consciousness. These seeds will grow, whether you plant them intentionally or scatter them unconsciously through habitual thinking. Practice. Throughout this day, observe one negative thought that regularly appears in your mind. Notice how often it arises, how it feels in your body, and what it tends to create in your experience. Then, consciously choose its spiritual opposite. If the thought is, "I never have enough time," replace it with, "Time expands to accommodate all that truly matters." If it's, "I can't afford this," transform it to, "I am always abundantly supported." Track how this shift affects not only your inner state, but the outer circumstances that begin to arrange themselves around your new vibration. Notice how your energy transforms, how your shoulders relax, how your breath deepens naturally. Watch as the universe responds to your elevated consciousness, bringing forth synchronicities and opportunities that align with your newly chosen thought patterns. The world around you will subtly reshape itself to match your inner reality. For this is the way of universal law. Chapter 7. Unlocking the Gate of Belief. In a modest music studio on the outskirts of town, Helen sat at her piano, fingers hovering over the keys. For 30 years, she had taught others to shine while keeping her own light dimmed. "I'm too old to perform now," she would whisper to herself. And in doing so, she wove an invisible barrier between herself and her dreams. You must understand that belief is not merely a thought. It is the foundation upon which your entire reality rests. When you declare something impossible, you command the universe to prove you right. When you open yourself to possibility, you give the sacred technique permission to work through you. One evening, as Helen watched her youngest student perform without fear, something shifted within her. For a brief moment, she allowed herself to believe. In that instant of pure faith, the universe began its dance. Within days, a former student invited her to perform at a local arts festival. Soon after, opportunities she had never imagined possible began appearing, as if they had been waiting all along for her permission to enter her world. This is the power of belief, not as a mental exercise, but as an energetic doorway. The universe does not judge whether you are too old, too young, or anything. It simply responds to your deepest convictions with unwavering precision. Stanley, who spent his days in the darkness of coal mines, carried a different kind of light within him. Though his hands were blackened by coal, his mind wandered to inventions that could make the miners' work safer. At first, he dismissed these thoughts. Who was he to be an inventor? But as he began to entertain the possibility, to believe in his capacity for creation, something remarkable occurred. The very environment that had seemed to limit him became the source of his inspiration. One day, while observing how water droplets moved along the mine walls, he conceived of a new drainage system. That moment of insight, born from the marriage of observation and belief, led to his first patent. The universe had not changed. Stanley had simply adjusted his receptivity to what was possible. The sacred practice. Take a moment now to write down a belief that has limited you. Feel its weight, its familiarity. Then, with the same pen, write its exact opposite. If you have written, "I am too old to start," write instead, "My timing is divinely perfect." Sit with this new statement. Allow yourself to feel how your life would unfold if this were your truth. Notice the subtle shift in your energy as you embrace this new possibility. The universe awaits your permission to show you what lies beyond the boundaries of your current beliefs. Chapter 8. Ancient Symbols, Modern Shift. In a sunlit studio tucked away in the mountains, Agnes dipped her brush into vibrant colors, creating intricate circular patterns that seemed to flow through her without conscious thought. Each mandala she painted carried an ancient wisdom she had yet to comprehend, yet their impact on her life was undeniable. You stand now at the threshold of understanding one of the most powerful aspects of the sacred technique, the language of symbols. These sacred geometries and archetypal forms are not mere decorations. They are keys that unlock the deeper chambers of your consciousness, bypassing the rational mind to speak directly to your soul. When Agnes first began painting these sacred circles, she noticed subtle shifts in her environment. Her relationships harmonized, opportunities aligned, and a sense of peace pervaded her space. Without knowing the 1,000-year history of the mandala as a tool for spiritual alignment, she had tapped into its transformative power. The universe speaks in symbols because they transcend the limitations of language. They are the original alphabet of consciousness, encoding universal truths that your deeper self recognizes instantly. When you work with sacred symbols, you activate ancient patterns of manifestation that have been used by mystics throughout the ages. Raymond, whose hands shaped metal in his forge, discovered this truth in his own way. Above his anvil, he carved a simple sun symbol, a circle with radiating lines. At first, it was merely decorative, but soon he noticed a surge of energy in his work. His creations took on new life. His stamina increased, and customers were drawn to his forge as if guided by an invisible hand. The power of symbols lies in their ability to align your energy with universal forces. The spiral speaks of evolution and growth. The tree connects heaven and earth through your being. The door represents transformation and possibility. Light, in all its forms, awakens the divine spark within. These symbols are not separate from you. They are expressions of the same force that flows through your veins. When you engage with them consciously, you activate their resonance in your life. Each symbol is a tuning fork, adjusting your frequency to match its ancient wisdom. Practice. Choose one sacred symbol that resonates with your spirit. It might be a spiral, a tree, a circle, or any form that calls to you. Each day, take time to draw this symbol with intention, letting your hand move naturally across the page. As you create it, breathe deeply and allow your awareness to merge with its energy. Feel its meaning flowing through you, as though the ancient wisdom contained within its form is awakening in your consciousness. This is not about artistic skill. It is about connecting with the symbol's essence and allowing it to become a bridge between your earthly experience and the divine realms. After drawing, sit quietly with your creation, allowing its wisdom to speak to your heart. Let the symbol become a meditation, a focal point through which universal truth can flow into your being. With practice, you will find that the symbol begins to work through you, transforming your energy and aligning you with its sacred power. Chapter 9. The Inner Oracle Awakens. In a small cottage by the sea, Mildred sat at her weathered desk each morning, listening to the whispers that had grown stronger since her husband's passing. These weren't thoughts. They were gentle nudges like ripples on still water, guiding her hand toward pen and paper. You may recognize this voice within yourself, the quiet knowing that precedes thought, the gentle pull toward certain actions that cannot be explained by logic alone. This is the divine speaking through your intuition, offering guidance that transcends the limitations of rational thought. When Mildred finally surrendered to these whispers, poetry flowed through her like a stream finding its natural course. Her words touched hearts across continents, though she had never studied verse. She simply allowed herself to become a vessel for something greater than herself. The sacred technique reveals itself most purely through this inner guidance system. It does not arrive with fanfare or demand attention. It speaks in the spaces between thoughts, in the moments of quiet certainty that arise when the mind grows still. Calvin, who had delivered mail for 4 decades, began dreaming of a coastal village he'd never visited. Night after night, the same stone buildings and winding paths called to him. Rather than dismiss these visions, he chose to trust. Following this unseen thread led him to a small fishing town in Maine, where he found not just a new home, but a community that had been waiting for his arrival. These promptings from the universe are like threads of golden light, weaving through the fabric of your experience. They appear as sudden inspirations, recurring dreams, or a persistent feeling that gently pulls you in a particular direction. This guidance never demands or forces. It simply illuminates the path of least resistance toward your highest good. Your intuition is the compass that points toward your divine alignment. It speaks in feelings, in images, in those moments of knowing that transcend explanation. When you learn to trust these subtle signals, you step into the flow of universal intelligence that has been guiding souls since time began. Practice. As you prepare for sleep tonight, hold one question in your heart, something you seek guidance about. Let this question be the last thought in your mind as you drift into slumber. Upon waking, before your rational mind fully engages, notice the first feeling, image, or impression that surfaces. Write it down immediately, without judgment or analysis. This practice opens the channel between your conscious mind and the infinite wisdom that speaks through your intuition. Chapter 10. Crossing the Threshold. In the ancient clock tower that stood sentinel over the town, Beatrice tended to the massive timepiece as she had done for 20 years. Each morning, she would climb the worn stone steps, her footsteps echoing through time itself. On this particular dawn, as sunlight streamed through dust-filled air, something extraordinary occurred. A key materialized, falling from above as if the universe itself had dropped it into her waiting hands. You stand now at a similar threshold. Like Beatrice, you have been preparing for this moment, though you may not have known it. Every experience, every lesson, every moment of doubt or wonder has led you to this precise point in time. The sacred technique calls forth those who are prepared to answer. It beckons not with thunder, but with quiet certainty, a knowing that rises from the depths of your being, announcing, "The time is now." Consider Oscar, who kneaded bread in the pre-dawn hours, waiting for the perfect moment to expand his beloved bakery. Day after day he convinced himself that tomorrow would be better, next month more suitable, next year more certain. Until one morning, as he shaped the dough beneath his hands, he felt the pulse of inspiration course through him. Without hesitation or doubt, he acted. Within months, his small bakery transformed into a gathering place of joy and sustenance for the entire community. The universe does not respond to hesitation. It answers decisive action aligned with inner truth. When you declare yourself ready, when you step forward with unwavering intent, the entire fabric of reality shifts to support your movement. You have absorbed these teachings. You have felt their resonance in your bones. The ancient wisdom has awakened something that has always lived within you. No more waiting. No more preparation, no more rehearsal. The sacred technique is not a distant shore. It is the ground beneath your feet. It is not a future state to achieve. It is your natural way of being, waiting to be embraced. Sacred practice. Stand in a quiet space where you will not be disturbed. Feel the weight of this moment, the sacred pause between what was and what will be. Let your breath settle into a natural rhythm as you ground yourself in the present. With clear intent and full presence, speak these words aloud. I now walk the path of the sacred technique. Let each word carry the weight of truth, resonating through the air like ripples across still water. Feel the vibration of this declaration in every cell of your being, awakening ancient knowledge that has slumbered within. This is not a pledge to be made lightly. It is a recognition of who you truly are, an acknowledgement of the divine power that has always resided in your heart, waiting to be claimed. Part 2. The Deepening, Aligning with the Divine Current. Chapter 11. Alignment is the access point. In a small telegraph office between brick buildings, Clifford sat at his desk each morning, fingers poised above the brass key. Through years of service, he discovered a truth that would reshape your understanding of universal alignment. On mornings when his mind raced with worry or impatience, the telegraph lines seemed to conspire against him. Messages arrived garbled, static interrupted the flow, and delays multiplied like autumn leaves in a windstorm. Yet on days when he approached his work with inner calm, when his breath moved like gentle waves and his thoughts settled like clear water, something magical occurred. The lines remained crystal clear, messages flowed with perfect timing, and even the most complex transmissions arrived without effort. You see, the universe operates much like Clifford's telegraph system. Your emotional frequency determines the clarity of your connection to the infinite intelligence that surrounds you. When you force, push, or strain, you create static in the system. But when you align yourself with peace, you become a perfect conductor for life's possibilities. This truth revealed itself again through Lillian, whose small dressmaking shop served the ladies of her town. She noticed a pattern as reliable as the seasons themselves. On mornings when she rushed straight to her workbench, tangled threads and miscut fabric seemed to mock her expertise. But when she began her day with the soft notes of her cherished music box, when gratitude filled her heart like morning light, every stitch fell perfectly into place. Customers arrived at just the right moment, and even the most challenging alterations unfolded with graceful ease. Your state of being is not merely a mood. It is a frequency that the universe mirrors back to you with unwavering precision. This is not about reward or punishment, but rather about resonance and reflection. Like attracts like, not by moral judgment, but by universal law. When you approach life from a state of alignment, you become like a finely tuned instrument in the cosmic orchestra. Your day unfolds not through force or struggle, but through natural harmony with the rhythms of creation. This alignment is your birthright, not a distant goal to chase, but a natural state to remember and embrace. Sacred practice. Before the world demands your attention each morning, Give yourself 5 minutes of pure alignment. Find a quiet space as the day awakens. Breathe deeply, allowing each breath to clear your inner channel. Let a gentle smile touch your lips. This simple act signals to your body and the universe that you choose peace. Speak aloud 3 specific things that fill your heart with genuine gratitude. Only then, reach for your phone or begin your daily tasks. Watch as your aligned beginning creates ripples of harmony throughout your day. Chapter 12. The Trinity of Creation. In the dimly lit corners of a smoky jazz club, Walter's fingers danced across piano keys, weaving melodies that touched souls. Yet it wasn't until he discovered the ancient trinity of creation that his music truly began to transform lives and his own reality. You must understand that creation flows through 3 sacred channels. Like Walter discovered, when you align your clear intention with genuine emotion and unwavering presence, the universe cannot help but respond. Each evening, as Walter sat at his piano, he held his intention like a gleaming north star, to uplift hearts through divine harmony. He allowed joy and inspiration to flow through him like a rushing river, and remained fully present in each note as it birthed into existence. Soon, his performances began selling out. People spoke of being moved to tears, of experiencing healing through his music. More significantly, abundance flowed effortlessly into his life, as though the universe itself was applauding his alignment. This trinity, intention, emotion, and presence, forms the sacred foundation of all manifestation. Your intention acts as the seed, your emotion provides the nurturing soil, and your presence supplies the light that allows it to grow. Eleanor, who arranged flowers in her small shop window, embodied this truth without initially realizing it. Each morning, as she selected blooms for her arrangements, she began consciously holding an intention of spreading love and prosperity through her creations. She allowed herself to feel the joy of abundance as she worked, remaining fully present with each stem she placed. Her bouquets began carrying an energy that customers could feel but couldn't explain. Word spread, and soon her simple shop transformed into the town's premier floral destination. You possess this same power. The trinity of creation flows through you in every moment, whether you're aware of it or not. When you consciously unite these 3 forces, your clear intention, your genuine emotion, and your complete presence, you activate the full power of the sacred technique. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Select one goal that calls to your heart. Write this intention clearly on paper, making it specific yet open to the universe's wisdom. Now close your eyes and generate the emotion of already having received this blessing. Feel it in every cell of your being. Finally, bring your complete presence to this moment. No past, no future, just the pure power of now. Hold this trinity of creation for 3 full minutes, allowing the universe to receive your aligned signal. Chapter 13. The Power of the Present Command. In the hallowed halls of justice, Arthur sat with his fingers poised over the stenograph, recording every word spoken into permanent record. Through years of service, he noticed a peculiar pattern. The weight and impact of words shifted dramatically based on their temporal placement. You have within you the same power that shapes worlds. Your words are not mere expressions. They are declarations of reality. When you speak of what you desire as though it exists now, you activate the sacred technique in its purest form. The universe knows only the eternal present moment, the infinite now. Through countless trials and testimonies, Arthur witnessed how present tense statements carried authority that future-oriented hopes could never match. "I am innocent" resonated differently than "I hope to prove my innocence." The universe responded not to the content alone, but to the temporal power behind the words. This truth extends beyond the courtroom into the very fabric of creation. When you declare, "I will be successful," you push your desire eternally into a future that never arrives. But when you state, "I am successful," you align with the creative power of now. Florence discovered this wisdom in her modest tea room, where once she whispered, "I hope customers will come." She began declaring, "I am serving a flourishing community." Where she used to think, "The business will grow," she shifted to, "My business is thriving." The transformation was immediate and unmistakable. Within weeks, every table filled with patrons who seemed drawn by an invisible force. The sacred technique flows most powerfully through present tense declarations. Your words are seeds planted in the fertile soil of now. When you speak of your desires as current reality, you bridge the gap between what appears to be and what is becoming. Practice the ancient declaration. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Create 3 I am statements that embody your deepest desires. Write them with care, ensuring they resonate with your truth. Speak them aloud 3 times each day, morning, noon, and night. Feel their reality as you speak to them. Let each word vibrate with the power of present moment creation. For example, "I am radiating health and vitality." "I am experiencing abundant prosperity." "I am living my divine purpose." Remember, these are not affirmations of hope. They are declarations of being. Speak them as one who knows, not as one who wishes. Let your voice carry the weight of absolute certainty, for you are not merely describing what you desire, but proclaiming what already exists in the spiritual realm. When you declare, "I am," you speak with the voice of creation itself, echoing the divine power that shapes reality through the spoken word. Chapter 14. Receiving is a sacred act. In the halls of St. Mary's Hospital, Irene moved between patients with practiced efficiency. Her hands were skilled, her care impeccable, yet whenever someone praised her work, she would quickly dismiss it. "Oh, it's nothing," she would say, or "I'm just doing my job." Each deflection created an invisible wall between her and the abundance trying to reach her. You must understand that receiving is as sacred as giving. The universe operates in cycles of give and take, like the eternal breath of creation itself. When you refuse to receive, whether it's praise, help, or abundance, you interrupt this divine flow. One morning, an elderly patient, a stranger with eyes that held ancient wisdom, caught Irene's hand after she adjusted his pillows. "You have healing hands," he said softly. As Irene began her usual deflection, he raised his other hand to stop her. "Just say, 'Thank you,'" he instructed. "Nothing more." The simple act of accepting his words opened something within her, a channel that had long been closed. Milton crafted shoes in his small workshop, pride keeping him isolated in his dedication to doing it all myself. Each evening he would work late into the night, refusing offers of assistance from his nephew who wished to learn the trade. "I must maintain my standards," he would say, though his business remained small and his hands grew weary. The sacred technique requires both the power to create and the grace to receive. When Milton finally allowed his nephew to help, not only did his business flourish, but unexpected opportunities appeared. A wealthy merchant offered to stock his shoes, and a neighboring shop offered to display his finest pieces. You see, receiving is not passive. It is an active alignment with the abundance that seeks you. Every time you deflect a compliment, refuse help, or insist on struggling alone, you tell the universe, "I am not ready for more." But when you open yourself to receiving, you declare, "I am in harmony with abundance." Practice. When someone offers a compliment, assistance, or gift, respond only with "thank you." Let the words rest in the air without diminishment or deflection. Feel the sensation of receiving fully, allowing the energy of gratitude to flow between you and the giver. Notice how your heart opens when you simply accept what is offered. Later, write down what you experienced in that moment of pure acceptance, the emotions that stirred within, the subtle shifts in your energy, and any resistance you may have felt. This practice will gradually dissolve the barriers you've built against receiving and attune you to the natural flow of abundance that surrounds you always. Chapter 15. From Force to Flow. In a small repair shop filled with the metallic symphony of typewriter keys, Lucille bent over her workbench, forcing stuck mechanisms and wrestling with stubborn springs. Her fingers were calloused from endless hours of pushing, fixing, striving. "If I work harder," she would tell herself, "success will come." Yet with each forceful attempt, the machine seemed to resist more strongly, as if reflecting her own internal struggle. You must understand that the sacred technique flourishes not in the soil of strain, but in the garden of allowance. When you cease the endless pushing and enter the flow of trust, the universe responds with grace beyond measure. One afternoon, exhaustion finally overcame Lucille. She stepped away from her workbench and, for the first time in years, simply sat in her garden. As tension melted from her shoulders, solutions began floating into her mind effortlessly. The next day, her hands moved with intuitive ease, and the typewriters yielded to her touch as if by magic. Her reputation spread naturally, and clients appeared without effort. Bernard, who spent his days plotting intricate railroad routes, discovered this same truth beside the peaceful waters of Lake Morrison. Each weekend, as his fishing line created gentle ripples across the surface, brilliant solutions would arise unbidden in his mind. The complex scheduling problems that had resisted hours of concentrated effort dissolved in moments of quiet surrender. The sacred technique operates most powerfully in the space of allowing. Like water, it cannot be grasped, only channeled. When you release the need to control every detail, you open yourself to possibilities beyond your limited imagination. The universe holds wisdom far greater than your careful plans. Your role is not to force the river of life, but to align with its flow. When you trust in the perfect unfolding of your desires, resistance dissolves. This is not passive waiting. It is active surrender, a powerful stance of receptivity that invites miracles. Practice. Sacred surrender. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Bring to mind one desire you've been struggling to manifest. Take a deep breath and speak these words with conviction. I allow this to come to me in the highest way. Feel the relief of releasing control. Then, turn away from your desire and engage in something that brings you joy. Perhaps a walk in nature, creating art, or dancing to your favorite music. Let the universe work through your trust. Chapter 16. Your words cast spells. In the early hours of dawn, Pearl sat before the gleaming radio microphone, unaware that she was about to discover one of the most potent secrets of the sacred technique. As her voice flowed through the airwaves each morning, she began to notice something extraordinary. The energy behind her words shaped not just the mood of her listeners, but the very fabric of her reality. The power of the spoken word extends far beyond mere communication. Every utterance carries a vibrational signature that ripples through the quantum field of creation. Your words are not merely sounds. They are sacred vessels of creative force, each one programmed with the power to shape your experience. When Pearl spoke of storm clouds gathering, calls would flood in about people feeling heavy and troubled. Yet when she wove words of golden sunlight and gentle breezes, the entire city seemed to lift in spirit. Gradually, she recognized that this same principle was actively sculpting her personal world. Eugene, whose small barbershop had stood on Cedar Street for decades, lived this truth without realizing it. Each morning, he would unlock his shop door with a heavy sigh, another hard day ahead. And indeed, each day proved challenging, with sparse customers and endless struggles. But when a passing stranger's words of wisdom led him to shift his morning declaration to another powerful day of service, something remarkable occurred. Within weeks, his chairs were filled, and prosperity flowed as naturally as his conversations. You see, the universe does not judge your words. It simply accepts them as commands for creation. Those phrases you repeat most often become the cornerstone of your reality's foundation. They are the seeds from which your tomorrow grows. Practice. Observe your daily language with the attention of a guardian watching over a sacred text. Record the phrases that pass your lips most frequently. As night falls, choose 3 of these expressions and transform them into declarations aligned with your highest vision. Feel the power of each new word as you speak it into the fertile silence of evening. Remember, your words are not empty vessels. They are filled with the very essence of creation itself. Guard them with reverence, for they are actively designing your destiny with each breath you take. Like an artist selecting colors for a masterpiece, choose your words with deliberate care, understanding that each syllable carries the vibration of manifestation. The universe stands ready, listening intently to the sacred language you speak into existence, weaving your declarations into the tapestry of tomorrow. Your words are the architects of your reality, the sculptors of your experience, shaping not just your thoughts, but the very fabric of your being. Chapter 17, Silencing the Noise of Doubt. In a small office building on the edge of town, Viola sat at her typewriter, her true passion hidden in the bottom drawer, sketches and watercolors that captured the light of dawn through city windows. Each morning, she would arrive early to work, fingers hovering over her art supplies, only to withdraw as that familiar voice whispered, "Not good enough." You have known this voice too, the one that dims your light, that causes your hand to hesitate, that makes you question what your heart knows to be true. This voice is not wisdom. It is static on the frequency of your divine connection. The sacred technique operates through clear channels. When doubt clouds your signal, manifestation becomes distorted. Yet doubt itself holds no power except that which you grant it. Like clouds passing before the sun, doubt may temporarily obscure your light, but it cannot diminish your inherent radiance. Samuel understood this truth after 40 years of conducting orchestras. In retirement, he found himself lost without the symphony's guidance. The voices of doubt grew louder, until one morning he chose to treat them as background noise rather than trusted advisors. As he learned to tune out the static, the music of his own inner wisdom returned, leading him to teach young musicians and find new purpose. Your doubts speak in authoritative tones, masquerading as protection, as reason, as truth. But they are merely echoes of old stories, not the voice of your soul. The sacred technique requires not the absence of doubt, but the courage to proceed in its presence. Sacred practice. Take your journal and inscribe your 3 most persistent doubts. Beneath each, write your declaration of sacred defiance. Even though I doubt my worthiness, I now choose faith. Even though I doubt my path, I now choose faith. Even though I doubt my power, I now choose faith. Feel the strength in each declaration, allowing the vibration of truth to course through your entire being. Let these sacred words resonate in your heart, your mind, and your soul until they become one with your consciousness. The universe responds not to your doubts, but to your deepest knowing, that eternal flame of wisdom that burns bright within you, waiting to illuminate your path forward. Chapter 18, Rituals for Realignment. In a small cottage at the edge of a misty meadow, Beulah crafted candles by hand, each one shaped with care and attention. One morning, as golden light filtered through her window, she felt moved to light a simple white candle before beginning her work. As the flame flickered to life, she closed her eyes and held a single thought. Let this day unfold in perfect harmony. The power of ritual lies not in its complexity, but in its significance. When you infuse a simple action with sacred intention, you create a bridge between the spiritual and material realms. Each time you perform this action with awareness, you strengthen this connection. Day after day, Beulah's morning ritual transformed her workshop. The quality of light seemed different, the air charged with possibility. Her customers began commenting on the peculiar warmth her candles carried, as if each one held a blessing within its wax. She had discovered what the ancient ones knew. That ritual is the vessel through which invisible power takes form. Roland, who had spent 40 years at sea, found himself restless in retirement, tossing through nights filled with uncertainty. One evening, guided by an inner knowing, he placed a smooth river stone on his windowsill. "With this stone," he whispered, "I lay down my worries and trust in the flow of life." That night, he slept like a child, cradled by the waves. The sacred technique flourishes when given roots in the physical world. Your ritual becomes an anchor, a daily reminder of your connection to the infinite. It need not be elaborate. The simplest acts, performed with reverence, can shift the entire frequency of your day. Sacred practice. For the next 7 days, create a 5-minute ritual that speaks to your soul. Choose an element that calls to you, perhaps lighting a candle, holding a crystal, or simply sitting in silence. Some find peace in the gentle flow of water, others in the earthy scent of sacred herbs, or the warmth of morning sunlight on their face. Whatever you choose, let it arise naturally from your inner wisdom. Perform this ritual at the same time each day, infusing it with clear intention. As you begin, take 3 deep breaths to center yourself in the present moment. This is not about perfection. It is about presence. Your dedication to this practice, however simple it may seem, opens doorways to profound transformation. Let this practice become your daily anchor to the sacred technique, a bridge between the visible world and the infinite realm of possibility that awaits your conscious touch. Chapter 19. The Shadow Knows the Way. In the quiet corners of a small town, a young widow named Della lived in constant fear of solitude. Each evening, as shadows lengthened across her floor, anxiety would creep into her heart. Yet one autumn morning, something within her shifted, a quiet voice that beckoned her to walk alone into the woods behind her house. You too have felt this resistance, this instinct to turn away from what frightens you. Yet within every shadow lies a sacred teaching, a power waiting to be claimed. The darkness you avoid holds the very light you seek. As Della ventured deeper into the forest, each step carrying her further from familiar comfort, she discovered something extraordinary. In complete solitude, she found herself. Not the self shaped by others' presence, but her true essence, waiting patiently to be remembered. This is the alchemy of shadow work. When you turn toward what frightens you, you reclaim the power you gave to fear. Your shadows are not your enemies. They are your unintegrated strength, waiting in the wings of consciousness to be welcomed home. Norman, a mechanic who had mastered every engine but doubted his own worth, faced this truth in his own way. For years he watched others advance while he remained in the safety of his limitations. His fear of unworthiness had become a familiar companion, until one day he recognized it as a messenger pointing toward his next evolution. When Norman finally applied for the position of head engineer, he didn't wait for worthiness to arrive. He walked with his fear, acknowledged its presence, and moved forward anyway. The universe responded to this courage, this willingness to integrate shadow with light. You are not meant to eliminate fear. You are meant to transform it. Each fear you face carries a gift, a piece of your power waiting to be reclaimed. When you thank your fears instead of fighting them, you discover they were guardians all along, protecting the gates to your greatest potential. Practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Take a piece of paper and write a letter to one of your deepest fears. Begin with, "Dear Fear," and then thank it for its presence in your life. Listen to what it has been trying to tell you. Acknowledge the gift it has been holding, perhaps patience, wisdom, or strength. Once complete, either burn the letter safely and scatter its ashes to the wind, or bury it in the earth as an offering of transformation. Chapter 20. The Inner Temple of Certainty. In a bustling corner of the city where steam rose from coffee cups and whispered conversations filled the air, Leona stood behind her cafe counter with an energy that transformed the space. She no longer scanned the morning paper for lucky numbers or consulted her cards for guidance. Instead, she had become the very embodiment of certainty, a lighthouse in human form. You possess this same power, though perhaps you've forgotten. The universe does not require external validation to move in your favor. It awaits your unwavering command, your unshakable knowing. When you align with the frequency of absolute certainty, reality has no choice but to reshape itself around your conviction. This is not arrogance. It is the natural law of creation. Just as the sun does not question its rising, you need not question your power to create. Wendell, who once counted others' fortunes from behind his banker's desk, discovered this truth in the autumn of his life. After years of seeking permission from the world, he began walking with the quiet confidence of one who knows. His shoulders straightened, his eyes cleared, and his steps carried the weight of inner authority. Soon, opportunities appeared, doors opened, and people responded to this shift in his energy. The world mirrors your certainty. When you stand firm in your knowing, the universe conspires to match your conviction. This is not about forcing or willing. It is about embodying the natural power that has always resided within you. Your certainty becomes a magnetic force, drawing to you that which aligns with your inner knowing. This is the sacred art of becoming the sign you once sought outside yourself. Practice. In a quiet space, light a candle or sit in stillness. Allow your breath to settle into a natural rhythm, letting each inhale and exhale ground you more deeply in this sacred moment. Then, with the authority of your own voice, speak these words. I am certain of my power. I am certain of my path. Continue this declaration until you feel truth resonating in every cell of your being. Let the vibration of these words fill the space around you, transforming doubt into knowing. As you speak, notice how your body responds, how your spine straightens, how your heart opens, how your energy shifts. This is not mere repetition, but an awakening to the divine certainty that has always resided within you. Part 3. The Mastery. Becoming the Sacred Technique. Chapter 21. Embodying the Divine Creator Within. In the quiet hours before dawn, when the world still slept, Marvin sat at his workbench surrounded by timepieces. Each morning he struggled with doubt, seeing himself as merely a man fixing watches. But on this particular morning, something shifted within him, a remembrance of his true nature. You too stand at this threshold of transformation. The time has come to release the identity of a seeker and embrace your role as a divine channel. The sacred technique flows through you, not because you practice it, but because you are it. When Marvin began seeing his hands as extensions of universal intelligence, his work transformed. Watches that had puzzled other craftsmen yielded their secrets to him. Customers spoke of how their timepieces kept perfect time longer than ever before. He had stopped trying to be good at his craft and instead allowed the craft to flow through him. This same power moves through you now. You are not separate from the force that creates worlds. You are that force individualized. When you release the struggle to become and embrace what you already are, manifestation becomes as natural as breathing. Dolores discovered this truth while tuning pianos. For years she had approached each instrument with technical precision, always striving to prove her worth. But when she began seeing herself as a vessel through which harmony flowed, her work became a sacred dance. Soon musicians requested her by name, speaking of how their pianos sang differently after she touched them. The universe does not need you to be better. It needs you to be available. Your role is not to perfect yourself, but to allow the perfection that already exists to express through you. This is the final secret of the sacred technique. You cannot fail at being what you already are. When you understand that you are not the doer, but the doorway, struggle falls away. Creation becomes effortless because you no longer create from lack, you create from wholeness. You are not reaching for power, you are power expressing itself. Practice. Write this sacred declaration. I am the creator of my reality. Speak these words aloud each day for 7 days, not as an affirmation to convince yourself, but as a remembrance of what has always been true. Let each declaration be a recognition of your divine nature. Feel the vibration of these words resonate through your being, awakening the dormant power within. As you speak, allow yourself to become fully present to the truth they carry, a truth as ancient as the stars themselves. Stand before a mirror when you speak these words, looking deep into your own eyes, for they are the windows through which your eternal self gazes back at you. In this simple yet profound practice, you acknowledge the sacred partnership between your consciousness and the infinite intelligence of the universe. Chapter 22. Signs, Synchronicities, and Sacred Confirmations. In the twilight hours of an autumn evening, Howard stood at his familiar post one last time. For 40 years he had watched trains come and go, marking their schedules with precision. Now retired, he noticed something peculiar. Numbers began appearing everywhere, not random sequences, but patterns that whispered of deeper meaning. You too have glimpsed these patterns, these gentle nudges from the universe. They appear when your heart aligns with truth, when your desires resonate with your highest path. These are not mere coincidences. They are sacred signatures of alignment. The universe speaks in symbols, in repeated numbers, in meaningful encounters that cannot be explained by chance. When Howard saw 1111 on his pocket watch, just as he thought of teaching others about trains, he dismissed it. But when a young boy appeared moments later, asking about locomotives, Howard understood. The universe was confirming his path. These synchronicities appear as guideposts, marking the way forward when you align with your truth. They multiply in proportion to your awareness, creating an enchanted trail of breadcrumbs leading to your highest good. Betty encountered this mystery one morning while walking to her regular performance at a local cafe. There, displayed on a sun-faded billboard, was an advertisement for a singing competition, the very dream she had written in her journal as a child. She had long ago filed that dream away, convinced it belonged to childhood fancy. Yet here it was, calling to her again. The universe does not speak in shouts, but in elegant arrangements of circumstance. When Betty chose to follow this sign, more appeared. A free voice lesson offered, a chance meeting with a competition judge, an unexpected windfall covering the entry fee. You are surrounded by these divine markers, these cosmic winks that confirm your path. They appear not to those who demand them, but to those who walk in awareness, who maintain an open heart and watchful eye. Sacred practice. For the next 3 days, carry a small notebook with you wherever you go. Record every meaningful coincidence, every repeated number sequence, every chance encounter that feels significant, and every subtle whisper of synchronicity that crosses your path. Before sleep each night, in the sacred stillness of your own space, speak aloud to the universe with clear intention. Show me a clear sign about your desire. Feel these words resonate in your heart as you release them into the infinite. Then let go completely, surrendering all attachment to how the answer might appear. Watch and wonder as the world around you transforms into a living map of divine guidance, with each moment holding the potential for revelation. The universe speaks in the language of synchronicity. Your task is simply to notice, record, and remain receptive to its endless stream of signs. Chapter 23. Manifestation as a byproduct of being. In a quiet corner of a small town, where morning mist clung to flowering vines, Clyde tended his garden with weathered hands. For years he had pushed and strained, forcing growth through sheer will. His flowers bloomed, but never quite as he hoped, until the morning he stopped trying. You see, the sacred technique flows most purely when you release the grip of effort. As Clyde discovered, the moment he began gardening for the simple joy of it, something shifted. He no longer rushed between the rows with anxiety about results. Instead, he hummed old tunes, spoke softly to his plants, and delighted in the feel of rich soil between his fingers. Within weeks, his garden transformed. Vegetables grew plump and sweet, flowers bloomed with unprecedented vigor, and visitors remarked on the tangible peace that seemed to emanate from his plot of land. He had stumbled upon a fundamental truth. The universe responds not to what you do, but to who you are being. This same principle revealed itself through Nancy's bakery on Oak Street, where once she had exhausted herself trying to compete with larger establishments. She now simply focused on the joy of creating nourishing food. She stopped watching the clock and started watching the smile on each customer's face as they bit into her fresh bread. Without conscious effort, her small shop became more than a bakery. It transformed into a sanctuary of warmth and community. People lingered longer, shared stories over steaming cups of coffee, and brought friends to experience the unmistakable energy that filled the space. The universe, you see, is not moved by striving. It responds to your state of being. When you align yourself with joy, peace, and abundance, these qualities naturally multiply around you. This is not magic, it is law. The sacred practice: choose one day to embody the emotional state of your desired reality, treating it as a sacred experiment in consciousness. If you seek abundance, move through your day feeling abundant in every breath and gesture. If you desire love, be love itself, radiating warmth and compassion to all you encounter. Make no effort to change circumstances. Simply be the energy you wish to attract, knowing that like attracts like in the eternal dance of creation. Feel how this state of being transforms even the simplest moments into opportunities for manifestation. At day's end, record what manifested naturally from this state of being, noting not just events, but the subtle shifts in how others responded to your presence. This practice reveals the profound truth that what you seek is seeking you, waiting only for you to become its living embodiment. Chapter 24. The Law of Return. In the heart of a bustling market street, a humble tailor named Gerald worked his craft in a small shop filled with sunlight and the gentle whir of his sewing machine. Each morning, as merchants set up their stalls and early customers began their rounds, he noticed those whose clothes needed mending but whose pockets were empty. You possess within you an infinite wellspring of abundance, waiting to flow outward into the world. Just as Gerald discovered when he began offering free repairs to those in need, the universe operates on the sacred principle of circulation. What flows out must flow back, amplified and multiplied. The sacred technique reveals its greatest power not in what you gather, but in what you give. When Gerald mended a young mother's coat without charge, he felt something shift within his heart. The joy of giving, pure and untainted by expectation, opened channels of abundance he never knew existed. Soon his small shop overflowed with customers who could pay, each drawn by the light of genuine care that radiated from his work. This ancient truth manifested again through Esther, who found herself alone after her husband's passing. In her solitude, she began writing letters filled with encouragement and love, sending them anonymously to those who seemed in need of light. She poured her heart into each word, expecting nothing in return. Yet with each letter sent, her own loneliness began to lift, replaced by a profound sense of connection to the world around her. When you give from the overflow of your heart, not from duty or obligation, you align with the universe's natural state of abundance. This is not about depleting yourself or giving until you are empty. Rather, it is about recognizing the infinite source within you and allowing it to flow outward naturally, joyfully, without attachment to outcome. The law of return operates with mathematical precision, yet its calculations extend beyond mere numbers. What you offer returns not just in kind, but in ways that serve your highest good. Your task is not to direct this return, or to watch for it anxiously. Your task is simply to give purely, freely, and with joy. Sacred practice. Today, offer one gift to the world. It need not be material. It might be your time, a genuine smile, a word of encouragement, or a small act of service. Give it completely, with no expectation of return. Let your giving be as natural as a flower releasing its fragrance into the air. After you've given, release all thought of it. Do not wait for or anticipate any return. Simply allow your gift to ripple outward into the universe, trusting in the sacred law that governs all energy. What flows out must flow back. Chapter 25. Living in the Sacred Rhythm. In the early hours before dawn, when the city still slumbered, Otis would sit at his piano, fingers hovering above the keys. For years, he had forced himself to practice at set times, pushing against his natural rhythm, wondering why his music felt mechanical. Until one night, when the moon cast silver light through his window, he discovered a profound truth. You, like Otis, may have been moving against your natural flow, trying to bend time to your will. Yet the universe operates in perfect cycles, day and night, seasons, tides. These rhythms exist not to constrain you, but to guide you into alignment with the cosmic dance. When Otis finally surrendered to his body's wisdom, playing only when the music stirred within him, his artistry transformed. Audiences no longer heard mere notes. They felt the pulse of life itself flowing through his melodies. He had discovered that forcing creativity was like trying to make a flower bloom before its time. May, whose flower shop graced a quiet corner of town, made a similar discovery. Each morning, as the first light painted the sky in gentle hues, she felt an inexplicable surge of creative energy. For years, she had ignored this calling, arranging her bouquets according to shop hours. But when she began rising with the sun, allowing her artistic spirit to flow with the dawn, her arrangements took on a life of their own. Customers would pause, breathless before her window displays, drawn by something they couldn't quite name. The sacred technique flows most powerfully when you align with divine timing. Your body, your energy, your creative force, all move in natural cycles. Fighting these rhythms creates resistance. Flowing with them creates miracles. You are not meant to be a machine, operating at the same capacity every hour. You are a living instrument of the universe, designed to move in harmony with cosmic rhythms. Some moments call for action, others for rest. Some hours spark creativity, others invite reflection. Sacred practice. For the next 7 days, become a witness to your natural rhythms. Notice when energy flows effortlessly through you, when inspiration strikes, when your body calls for rest. Record these patterns without judgment. Then, for the following week, arrange your life around these natural cycles rather than forcing yourself into artificial time frames. Create when creativity calls. Rest when your body whispers for stillness. Move when energy rises. This is not about indulgence. It is about aligning with the wisdom of your own sacred rhythm. Chapter 26. You are the sacred space. In the quiet hours before dawn, Sylvia moved through her modest home with the reverence of a priestess tending an ancient shrine. Each sweep of her broom became a blessing, each dusted surface an offering to the divine. She had discovered what many spend lifetimes seeking in far-off temples. The sacred dwells not in distant places, but in the space you create within. You hold this same power to transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. Your environment is not separate from your consciousness. It is an extension of it. When you treat each space as sacred, it begins to reflect that sanctity back to you. This is not mere symbolism. It is the law of attraction expressing through your immediate surroundings. The sacred technique awakens most powerfully when you recognize that holiness resides in your perception. As you elevate your awareness, your environment responds. Each room becomes a vessel for manifestation, each corner an altar to possibility. Rufus understood this truth as he walked his route each morning. Where others saw merely streets to be cleaned, he recognized an opportunity for blessing. With each step, he silently acknowledged the divinity within himself and his work. What began as a simple shift in perspective transformed his entire experience. Peace replaced shame. Dignity replaced drudgery. This transformation occurs because you are not merely a vessel containing power. You are the power itself, expressing through human form. When you recognize this truth, every space you inhabit becomes consecrated by your presence. Every action becomes a prayer, every moment an opportunity for divine expression. Sacred practice. Choose a space within your dwelling. It need not be large, for size matters not when working with divine energy. Clear it completely of all objects and clutter, then mindfully place only items that carry deep meaning and uplift your spirit. A cherished crystal, a meaningful photograph, or simply a single candle can transform an ordinary corner into sacred ground. This becomes your sanctuary, your point of power, where heaven and earth meet through your conscious presence. Each morning, sit here in perfect stillness, allowing the world's chaos to fall away. Let your breath align with the eternal rhythm of creation, feeling each inhale draw in universal life force, and each exhale release all that no longer serves you. Feel the sacred presence that you are, remembering that this physical form houses infinite potential. This is not ritual for ritual's sake. It is you remembering your true nature, awakening to the divine spark that has always resided within. Chapter 27. Walking with Sacred Power. In the early morning hours, Inez walked through her neighborhood, each step a testament to her inner knowing. Her presence had shifted, not through force or effort, but through the quiet certainty of one who remembers their true nature. Those who passed her felt something they couldn't explain, an energy that touched them before she uttered a word. You too carry this sacred presence within you. It is not something to be acquired, but remembered. When you walk in alignment with your divine nature, the world responds to your energy before it responds to your actions. This is not about controlling circumstances or manipulating outcomes. It is about emanating your truth so clearly that life has no choice but to mirror it back. The power you seek has always resided within you. It does not announce itself with thunder, but whispers with the steadiness of ancient wisdom. Like Inez, you need only claim it through your being, not your doing. Alfred discovered this truth in his own way. Once invisible to the world, he began holding himself with the dignity of one who knows their worth. He didn't demand attention. He simply stood in his power. Doors that once seemed locked began opening, not through force or demand, but through the magnetic presence he had cultivated. This is the essence of true power. It does not push or pull, it simply is. When you walk in this awareness, you become a living embodiment of the sacred technique. Your presence becomes your power. Your stillness becomes your strength. Sacred practice. Each day, set aside 5 minutes for an intentional walk. With each step, silently affirm, I walk in power. I walk in peace. Let each footfall ground this truth deeper into your being. This is not merely movement. It is a sacred declaration of who you truly are. As you practice this walking meditation, feel how the earth rises to meet your feet, supporting and affirming your presence. Notice how your posture naturally aligns with your inner strength, how your breath deepens with each step forward. This simple practice, passed down through countless generations of seekers, holds the power to transform your entire day, radiating its effects into every interaction and endeavor you undertake. Chapter 28. Manifesting Through Love. In the heart of a bustling cafe, Virginia moved between tables with quiet grace, carrying more than just cups of coffee. With each steaming cup she served, she infused a silent blessing of love, not as a technique, but as a natural overflow of her heart. You see, the most potent force in the universe is not will or determination. It is love. When you infuse your actions with pure love, you activate the highest frequency of the sacred technique. This is not about getting something in return. It is about allowing love to flow through you unobstructed. Virginia didn't seek recognition or reward. She simply chose to make each interaction sacred through the power of her loving intention. Soon, she noticed customers lingering longer, sharing deeper conversations, returning day after day, drawn not just to the coffee, but to the energy she had woven into their daily ritual. This same principle revealed itself through Lloyd's story. After decades of driving city buses, he discovered a simple truth that transformed his entire experience. Each morning, as passengers boarded his bus, he began seeing them surrounded by light, not as strangers to transport, but as divine beings sharing his journey. He didn't speak of this practice. He simply held that vision of love and light for every soul who stepped onto his bus. What followed could only be described as miraculous. Tensions that once filled his bus dissolved. Kindness flowed naturally between passengers. Even on the most challenging routes, an inexplicable peace prevailed. The sacred technique reaches its zenith when love becomes its foundation. This is not the love of poetry or romance. This is the fundamental force that holds the universe together. When you allow this pure love to flow through your actions, you align with the very power that creates worlds. Sacred practice. Select one action you perform daily. It could be preparing breakfast, answering emails, or tending to plants. Choose something that feels natural and manageable, an activity that already holds meaning in your daily rhythm. For 7 days, infuse this action with pure, unconditional love. Hold no expectation of return. Simply allow love to flow through you as you perform this task, treating each moment as sacred. As you fold laundry, Let every motion be a blessing. As you prepare a meal, imbue each ingredient with care and gratitude. Notice how the energy around this action begins to shift, and observe how this ripple extends into other areas of your life. Watch as this practice transforms not only the task itself, but begins to illuminate the interconnected nature of all your daily experiences. Chapter 29. The Master Returns to the World. In a small town where whispers once carried judgment, Eula's presence now carries light. Her workshop, among weathered buildings, radiates an energy that draws people in without a single advertisement. You see, she discovered that true teaching happens not through words, but through being. The sacred technique flows through you most powerfully when you cease trying to prove it and simply embody it. Eula understood this truth. She no longer needed to convince anyone of anything. Her very presence became the lesson. As you walk this path, you'll discover that mastery isn't about retreating from the world or ascending beyond it. It's about returning to it with eyes that see the divine in everything. Watch how Eula moves through her day. Each stitch she sews carries intention. Each smile she offers holds light. She doesn't speak of manifestation, she manifests. She doesn't lecture about presence, she is present. And those around her feel it, respond to it, are transformed by it. This truth echoed in Clarence's journey. After years of seeking wisdom in books and teachers, he found that the greatest teaching was his own aligned life. He stopped asking for signs and became one. Now, when people seek his counsel, he simply invites them to observe how he moves through his days, with trust, with grace, with unwavering faith in the universe's perfect orchestration. You have reached this same threshold. The time for seeking is complete. You are no longer just a student of these sacred laws. You are their living expression. Your life is now the teaching that others will witness. Every choice you make, every energy you carry, every silence you hold becomes a lesson for those ready to see. The sacred practice. Stand before a mirror or sit in stillness, wherever you feel most connected to your inner truth. Place your hand upon your heart. Feel its steady rhythm, the pulse of universal wisdom flowing through you. Speak these words with the full authority of your being, letting each syllable resonate through your entire body. I return to the world now, whole, powerful, and true. Let this sacred declaration be your morning mantra, your evening prayer, your moment-to-moment truth. Allow it to infuse every breath, every step, every interaction with its profound simplicity. You are no longer becoming, you are being. And in that being, you teach what cannot be taught with words alone. Your very presence becomes a beacon, illuminating the path for others who are ready to embrace their own transformation. Chapter 30. You are the living technique. In a town where the old church bells still mark time, Hazel tends her garden with quiet certainty. Once she would have questioned every choice, sought validation in endless books and teachings. Now she moves with the grace of one who knows, truly knows, that she is the power she once sought. You have walked this path, absorbed these teachings, and practiced these sacred principles. Yet now comes the deepest truth. The sacred technique was never something to master. It was something to remember, to become, to be. Like Hazel, you are no longer attempting to harness universal forces. You are those forces in motion. Russell, whose father measured time in mechanical increments, discovered a different kind of time, sacred time, where intention and manifestation dance as one. He no longer waits for the perfect moment. He creates it. His presence alone shifts the energy of a room, not because he tries, but because he is. The power you sought was never outside of you. The magic you yearned for was never in the words or rituals. It was in your awakening to who you truly are. Each chapter of this journey has led you here, to this moment of recognition. You are not studying universal laws. You are those laws in action. The sacred practice. Find a quiet moment as the sun rises or sets, when the veil between worlds grows thin and wisdom flows most freely. Take a clean sheet of paper and a pen that flows easily across the page, for these will become your sacred implements. Light a candle if you feel called, letting its flame represent the eternal light of truth within you. Begin writing a letter to yourself, starting with these words: I am now the living embodiment of the sacred technique. Let your words flow from that deep place of knowing within you, that ancient well of wisdom that has always existed in your soul. Do not edit or judge what emerges. Simply allow the truth to pour forth. Write until you feel complete, until the energy shifts and you know the message is fully expressed. Seal this letter in an envelope, mark it with today's date, and open it in 30 days' time. This is not a reminder. It is a recognition of who you have become, a testament to the transformation already alive within you. In that moment of opening, you will witness the power of your own prophecy made manifest. Conclusion. The journey you've taken through these chapters is not an end. It is a sacred beginning. You have not been given new tools. You have remembered the ones that were always yours. Like the ancient sages who walked before you, you now carry the living flame of this wisdom within your being. You are no longer seeking signs, techniques, or answers. You are walking as the answer itself. Each breath you take is infused with creative power. Each thought you hold shapes the invisible fabric of reality. Each choice you make ripples through the cosmic web of existence. The sacred technique now lives in your breath, your thoughts, your choices, and your presence. The invisible world moves when you move, because you have remembered your oneness with the great mind. You no longer need to reach outside yourself for guidance. You are the guidance you sought. You no longer need to ask for signs. You are the sign others will follow. You no longer need to search for power. You are power incarnate. Every moment from here is an opportunity to radiate, create, and transform. When you enter a room, it changes. When you speak, the universe listens. When you move, reality responds. Not because you are trying, but because you are being. Not because you are doing, but because you have remembered who you are. Walk in peace, for you are peace itself. Walk in power, for you are power itself. The sacred technique is no longer something you practice. It is what you are. Let your presence be your practice. Let your being be your prayer. Let your life be your offering to the world. You are unstoppable now, not because you have conquered anything, but because you have remembered everything. The ancient wisdom lives through you. The eternal truth speaks through you. The universal power moves through you. This is not an ending. This is your sacred beginning. Your journey doesn't end here. Click on this next audiobook that I promise will completely transform your perspective.